Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This video is about work values. It is the continuous of educational attitudes material we have last week. Talking about work values, it can be called as an impact of educational attitudes values we have and or we understand, and also the family values. So, how to show your value at work. No matter how employees feel about work, their primary motivation to work is to earn a living. The way we are working isn't working. Even if you are lucky enough to have a job, you're probably not very excited to get to the office in the morning. You don't feel much appreciated while you are there. You find it difficult to get your most important work accomplished amid all the distractions, and you don't believe that what you're doing makes much of difference anyway. By the time you get home, you're pretty much running on empty and yet still answering emails until you fall asleep. Increasingly, this experience is common not just to middle managers but also to top executives. So in this case, what people usually do when they get depressed on job. One's job in the United States is an important facet of personal identity. What do you do? In other words, for a living. It is synonymous with what are you in American English. Asking a child, what do you want to be when you grow up, really means what kind of job, what kind of work do you want to do? Since the American society places a stronger emphasis on doing, including producing, than on being, work is one of the most important activities in an individual's life. In addition, what a person does helps to determine that person's prestige. Okay, it is the same as in Indonesia. Children here usually ask themselves by being, not doing. Nah, biasanya anak-anak di sini, anak-anak rata-rata di Indonesia lebih sering ditanya tentang cita-cita. Apa cita-cita kalian? Apa cita-cita kamu? Dibandingkan dengan apa yang akan kamu lakukan nanti. Nah, jika pertanyaan apa yang akan kamu lakukan setelah lulus nanti, itu apakah lebih efektif dan lebih mengena dibandingkan apa cita-cita kamu. Seperti itu. Nah, jika kita mengatakan cita-cita, pasti kita tahu apa yang dilakukan. Nah, perlu kiranya pendidik untuk menyampaikan atau orang tua menyampaikan apa yang dilakukan dengan profesi itu, dengan cita-cita yang diharapkan itu. Nah, sehingga anak-anak akan memperoleh gambaran apa yang akan dia lakukan dan apa yang harus dia pelajari untuk mencapai itu. Talking about the work ethics. If you work really hard and you're kind, amazing things will happen. As we know that work ethics, it is a value based on hard work and intelligence and diligence, and attitudes toward work in the United States have been greatly influenced by the work ethics Yeah, as we know, it is not only in the United States, but also almost all countries have work ethics. Also, it is in the United States called the Puritan ethic or the Protestant ethic. It motivates people to work hard in order to become successful. It originated with the Puritan colonists from England who came to North America in the 1600s. The ethic was an outcome of the religious belief that material success was a sign of God's favor and that those who achieved this success were among God's chosen and would go to heaven. Okay, I'd like to explain you in bahasa bahwa etika kerja itu adalah dasar dari um, bekerja keras dan rajin. Nah, konon work ethics di Amerika itu disebut Puritan ethics atau Protestant ethics. Tujuan dari Puritan ethics atau Protestant ethics yang merujuk pada agama, ini tujuannya untuk memotivasi orang-orang supaya bekerja keras dan supaya sukses. Dan work ethic juga merupakan suatu kualitas kebaikan yang dimiliki dan kepercayaan bahwa materi yang dihasilkan dari kerja keras adalah hadiah dari Tuhan. Nah, kita tahu bahwa nilai-nilai budaya Amerika salah satunya adalah materialism. Nah, di sini menjelaskan bahwa anggapan bahwa materi itu berasal dari kerja keras, bukan dari Tuhan. Itu anggapan yang keliru sehingga nampak bagi mereka tidak percaya dengan Tuhan dan lupa dengan Tuhan. Nah, asal dari Protestant ethics itu di situ. And it is a belief in the moral benefit and importance of work and its inherent ability to strengthen character. It is called work ethics. Whether or not success was achieved, work attained religious and moral value as illustrated in the expression, "The devil makes work to idle hands." It means people who do not have enough to do often start to do wrong. For the 17th century Puritan colonists in New England, work as a religious virtue, the work ethic is still important, particularly in the middle and upper classes, even though it has lost its religious significance. An outcome of this American work value is materialism, the tendency to be concerned with wealth and possessions. Nah, di sini ada ilustrasi yang menggambarkan bahwa the devil makes work for idle hands. Artinya adalah people atau siapapun yang tidak cukup untuk who do not have enough to do, yang tidak cukup untuk mengerjakan sesuatu tidak maksimal, maksudnya mulainya atau selalu akan memulai hal maksudnya adalah awal mulainya itu sudah salah gitu. There are in this picture there are top 10 work ethics. Yeah, even though we have many than 10, it includes attendance, character, teamwork, appearance, attitude, productivity, organizational skills, communication, cooperation, and respect. Yeah, we can call it as a golden 10. Talking about American Dream. Does the American Dream still exist? Awal dari American Dream di sini, ini awalnya adalah pada sebuah novel yang ditulis oleh Horatio Alger. Many people believe that there is equality of opportunity that allows anyone to become successful. This belief is illustrated by stories written by a 19th century American novelist, Horatio Alger, who wrote about the American dream. In his stories, he described poor people who became rich because of their hard work, honesty, and luck. The stories reinforce the idea that all individuals, no matter how poor, were capable of becoming wealthy as long as they were diligent and virtuous. For many Americans, however, Horatio Alger's rags to riches, the meaning is from being extremely poor to being very rich stories, do not represent the reality of opportunity. Okay, talking about American Dream, ini sebenarnya adalah novel yang menggambarkan tentang bagaimana pemikiran saat itu, pemikiran orang-orang bahwa kekayaan itu asalnya dari warisan karena keturunan. Orang yang miskin, dia tidak akan bisa menjadi kaya. Nah, sehingga muncullah novel berjudul Rags to Riches. Nah, anggapan semacam itu tuh salah, bahwa anggapan kalau kekayaan berasal dari warisan sehingga yang miskin tidak bisa menjadi kaya, itu keliru. Orang miskin bisa menjadi kaya karena mereka bekerja keras, mereka jujur, dan mereka luck, beruntung. The American Dream is now described as a myth, sehingga bahwa kekayaan itu karena warisan itu adalah mitos ya. And it is difficult for several million American to get ahead. Dan itu akan menjadikan orang akan malas untuk maju. Okay, now talking about reward and job satisfaction, we have personal satisfaction, social interaction. It is the impact of the way of how people getting hard in work. And they have also personal rewards, public recognition. Many ways to motivate a creative people intrinsically and extrinsically. Firstly, in a job satisfaction, intrinsically personal satisfaction is needed to motivate a worker to work hard and to be creative. Then, interpersonally, social interactions becomes widely established well. Secondly, in a reward, extrinsically, a worker has a personal rewards from manager, either financial or career ladder. Meanwhile, interpersonally, a worker has a public recognition. Okay, I'd like to explain it in bahasa. Ada banyak hal yang memotivasi kita untuk menjadi kreatif dalam bekerja, secara intrinsik maupun ekstrinsik. Secara intrinsik, secara personal, kita merasa puas, dan secara ekstrinsiknya kita mendapatkan rewards dari perusahaan, dari pekerjaan kita. Bisa dikatakan bonus. Kemudian dalam hubungan sosial secara interpersonal, secara intrinsik, kita memperoleh keuntungan dalam hal social interaction, dalam hal link, hubungan kerja yang baik, sehingga kita memiliki banyak link, banyak klien. Dan secara ekstrinsik, kita dikenal oleh publik. Talking about upward occupational mobility or climbing the ladder, are terms that refer to one's advancement in work. Many employees have a succession of jobs that constitute a career. Some businesses, organizations, government agencies, and firms provide employees with the opportunities to progress to higher positions. Promotions and increased responsibility generally bring higher salaries. That's the point, and that's the luck. Yeah, if we have a good job, or we do work hard. Yeah, if you are climbing ladder and you increase your status, you have financial position and sense of self-worth, and then people become driven to work, and it is called workaholics. People are addicted to work. As an alcoholic, yeah, it is to liquor. There are people who are especially attracted to the notion of climbing the ladder so as to increase their status, financial position, and sense of self-worth. In part of in part as a result of the work ethic, these people are internally driven to work. The word workaholic describes as an individual who is as addicted to work as an alcoholic is to liquor. There are conflicting points of view about workaholics. Those concerned with problems of mental stress believe workaholics abuse themselves physically and mentally. Others hold that workaholics are valuable members of society because they are extremely productive. The American culture values achievement, efficiency, and production. A workaholic upholds these values. I like to explain it in bahasa. Workaholics itu diharapkan sebenarnya oleh perusahaan. Namun, secara personal itu tidak baik secara fisik dan mental. If you give up free time to work, you might be a workaholic, like this picture. So, in this case, you need to take leisure time and to socialize. How Americans spend their leisure time? Long time ago, watching TV is bigger than socializing, communicating, playing games, using computer for leisure, reading, sports, exercise, and recreation, relaxing and thinking, arts and entertainment. But now we have a gadget. Do you think people still playing gadget or watching TV? Yeah, this graph illustrates that TV watching gets the majority of our attention. If you had to decide what is more meaningful, I think that socializing with family and friends would win over passive TV watching. Increased leisure time in the United States has not altered the idea that work and play are distinct activities. This distinction is clear cut. There are work hours and after work hours. There is a belief that it is desirable to work hard and play hard, and undesirable to combine the two. In many offices, stores, and factories, socializing among employees is discouraged. I'd like to explain you in bahasa bahwa grafik yang tadi itu menarik perhatian kita ya, bahwa televisi menunjukkan peringkat teratas, dan sedangkan bersosialisasi, kumpul dengan keluarga justru menjadi kurang, dan itu tidak baik. Melakukan aktivitas itu lebih baik, seperti hobi, kemudian kumpul dengan keluarga, berkomunikasi. Ada perbedaan antara work hours dan after work hours. work hours itu work hard, sedangkan after work hours itu play hard. Nah, perlunya kita mengcombine keduanya. Dalam hal play hard, nah di sini tidak di Amerika sesama karyawan mereka anti untuk play hard atau going out together. Mereka hanya bekerja bersosialisasi hanya di tempat kerja saja, tidak di luar. Okay, and we go to conclusion. People are ambivalent toward work. It is at the same time glorified and belittled. We have cultural notes here. It is the words usually find in work world. Blue collar worker. It is a term referring to manual laborers and skilled and unskilled workers. White collar worker refers to such employees as salespersons, clerks, secretaries, technicians, managers, and professionals. It means lawyers, doctors, etc. A union is an organization of which owners formed for the purpose of protecting the worker with respect to wages and working conditions. In the United States, the government recognizes the importance of work as the means for survival. It has established several systems of compensation for people who are unemployed or underemployed. Social security goes to disabled and retired persons. Some retired people also receive a pension, which is based on how long the worker at one job. Welfare, including food stamps, goes to poor people, unemployed immigrants. Pemerintah di Amerika, pemerintah sangat memperhatikan yang namanya kesejahteraan, baik itu ke dunia kerja, ke employer maupun pengangguran. Dan ada yang namanya social security diberikan kepada pensiunan dan juga kepada orang-orang yang tidak bisa bekerja karena kondisi tubuh, dan juga kepada tunjangan kepada orang-orang miskin diberikan, dan para imigran. That's all from me. I hope you can take the benefit of this material. Thanks for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.